Okay, this is the artwork template in Word. Open up on your computer to print out the artwork on the OL700 WI labels from onlinelabels.com, the same as we use for the VIN labels. And these are weather resistant inkjet labels. This prints out the artwork for your tire placards. So you just print out sheets of these by the sheet, and then you're going to go back with the data label and fill in each label independently or a number of labels at a time with the same data if you're making the same trailer or the same LSV. These tire placard labels are used on LSVs and trailers, basically everything except for motorcycles. You don't need these on motorcycles. And so there's two templates. There's the artwork template and then the data template. And again, you just cut and paste or copy and paste the data from one space to the other to add or change which VIN label you're printing on. This is a simple look at what the data is. In the upper right is the gross vehicle weight rating on each label in kilograms and pounds. And then down below is the front and rear axle. If you're just doing a front axle or single axle trailer, you leave that second axle or the rear axle blank or put lines across there. And you just copy and paste or cut and paste to move from or add on other labels. And then you print this out on a blank sheet of paper first and hold it up over the artwork, on a sheet that's been printed with the artwork, so you can see that everything's going to hit right where it's supposed to hit. Again, this is a fairly primitive way of doing this, but the reason I get you these materials is most people, this is a way to get started with what you have now. And most people I'm dealing with are low volume, and this may be what you want to do in the long run. But it's a good way to get started with what you have now. That is an inkjet printer, so you don't have to go out and get a laser printer or a roll printer or something like that. You can decide if you want to do that in the long run, get a different printer and get a nicer label system going and so forth. That's not this primitive, but the neat thing about this is it works, and it works with what you have now probably. So if you're doing a lot of vehicles, you may want to do something different. There's tons of those online. Deco Art in Indiana is probably the one I recommend for most materials that you need. And so that's what I try to get you with this packet. Materials that will work with the inkjet printer. The MCOs I get you will work with either an inkjet or a laser jet, whereas most MCOs you get just work with a laser printer. And so anyway, this is how you do this. You put the data in, and then you're going to print it out on a blank sheet of paper first and hold it up over the artwork printed out sheet, and you're going to see where everything hits and if you need to adjust. And then in this case, here's the sheet that I just printed off. I've got a couple of data areas on there for the top two labels. Let's say that I'm doing today on 2 trailers, and I'm looking under light. It looks like that right label, I need to move the tire info down just slightly, maybe a little bit, so it prints better, but it's pretty close. And then you want to spray this with a little bit of clear right after you peel it off and before you put it on the trailer, or after you put it on the trailer. Even though they're weather resistant labels, they are still inkjet, and they aren't perfectly weatherproof, so you do need a little bit of clear on there. Doesn't take much, just a couple quick shots. And again, you want to just do that after you've printed the label and removed it from the backing, because you don't want to spray all your other blank labels you haven't printed yet, or they won't print with the clear on them. And just a couple quick shots. Doesn't take much, but it'll make the label last a long time.